Alright guys, welcome to the channel. So, you're looking to get a boat. First, congratulations. I've had so much fun, so many memories on the boat, or on the boats that I have purchased. I'll show you some pictures of those memories, just to be frank, but I'm making this video just to kind of point you in the right direction. I ended up buying 3 boats before I ended up on the one that I actually like. So I hope you find this video useful, and if you have any questions about any of the boats that I've gotten or purchased, leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you, or I may make a video on that topic that you asked me about. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Alright, so whenever you're considering buying a boat, there's a few things you got to think about. Number one is price point. How much do you want to spend on a boat, right? How much you're going to be doing it? Or whenever you go fishing or whatever you do on a boat, do you want to have any problems, right? That's something you got to think about. So a cost is a big factor, and also what are you going to be doing on the boat? For instance, are you going to be fishing? Are you going to use it to go duck hunting, or are you going to use it just to go tubing with your family or whatever? We're primarily going to be focused on fishing. So that leads me into the next topic before we get into price. What type of material do I want my boat to be made out of? There's 2 classes of boats. You got aluminum or fiberglass. We're going to talk about aluminum first. Aluminum is very lightweight, and it is excellent in rivers, and it's good in rivers because the aluminum dents easy and it doesn't just outright break. And if you was to hit a rock or something, you can either weld it up yourself, or you can get someone who is good with a welder to fix it, or you can throw some rivets in there. Like I said, it's easy to repair, and usually aluminum boats are a little bit cheaper, but it's a little bit harder to get a good angle on the hull. That's called your dead rise. So in choppy water, it's going to beat you to death. Trust me. So aluminum, no go if you got some waves out there, right? It's very uncomfortable in rough water. And also, if you are doing any type of fishing in salt water, I had an aluminum boat. It was all welded. However, the decking had rivets in it. And after a year of fishing, I only took it in salt water 3 or 4 times, those rivets started rusting. So I got rid of that one. I got a different boat. That brings us into fiberglass. Fiberglass is much more suited for rougher water. If you got any waves or any chop, the fiberglass is easily malleable, and you can make a good point on your dead rise. That way it cuts the waves and everything. The angle can be much sharper. And the fiberglass, in my opinion, it just looks better. It's much more of a sleek design. Fiberglass is a lot heavier, so you may need a bigger vehicle to pull it. Fiberglass doesn't corrode. However, it will kind of deteriorate if you leave it out in the sun, so you need to have a place to provide it with shelter. And fiberglass can require more upkeep. It's a little bit harder to clean, but that's all right. And fiberglass is better in salt water. So my personal opinion, if I'm fishing freshwater, I want aluminum. But that's only if I'm not going saltwater fishing, right? I like to do a little bit of both, so I got a fiberglass boat. But I don't fish rivers anymore because saltwater bug got me, and that's all I want to catch now. But I would like to get a small, cheaper aluminum boat, which I used to have one, but I sold it. So that's going to lead us into the next thing. Whenever you're fishing out of something like a flat bottom boat, usually these are a lot cheaper. These are going to fall under our low cost boats. I'll provide some images of these as I'm speaking about them, but usually on these boats, they range somewhere between $2,000, $6,000. The Tracker Topper, I used to have one. It was 15 foot, I don't remember how wide it was. I think it was like 50 inches wide, something like that. It had a 15 outboard on it. It was pretty great. I like that boat. I would buy that again, 100%. The 15 outboard on it, it would take me about 15 miles an hour. It did pretty good there. I would recommend a 15 to 25 horsepower on a flat bottom boat that's around 15 foot long. Then that brings us into the next category. This comes to mid-cost boats. And the big dilemma here is, should I buy one used or should I buy one new? Price here is about 6 to 10K. All right. You can still get a flat bottom boat in this price range, but it's probably going to be a new one. But here with the mid-cost boats, I'm going to be looking at used boats primarily. I'll be putting some pictures here on some name brands that come to mind is a Bass Tracker, Carolina Skiff, stuff like that. Kind of lower cost bass boats, just that kind of stuff. But if I'm spending 10K on something, I might as well go ahead and spend a little bit more. That's the way I look at it. Buy once, cry once. So whenever I was presented with this issue, I went ahead and bought a higher cost boat, and the first one I got was about 20K, and then I ended up upgrading to one that cost about 30K. But kind of more for me, that's high cost anyway. Some people spend $100,000 on a boat, which I ain't doing that. So high cost boats, I'm only going to talk about stuff that I've had before. But I had a Grizzly Tracker. It was center console. It was a 1860. I liked the boat. It did great in freshwater. If I was only going to use it in freshwater, that's what I would do. I'll cover a Grizzly Tracker review in another video and give you some more input on that. But it cost about $20,000, and it's a decent price. But personally, I stay away from tracker top stuff. But I ended up buying a Carolina Skiff. It's a sea skiff. It's 19 foot, 8 inches long, pretty much 20 foot. I can take it in salt water. It does great. I can take it out in the ocean whenever the waves are less than 2 foot, and it's pretty nice. It's comfortable. But if they're bigger than 2 foot, if I bring somebody, they're gonna get seasick, and that's not any fun. But that's with any boat if you're getting out in rough water. But all in all, I ended up with a Carolina Skiff. It's fiberglass, and it does me well with center console. So hopefully this helped point you in the right direction. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of motors on some boats. So on that Grizzly Tracker that I had, it had a 60 outboard on the back of it. And in my opinion, a 60 horsepower motor is plenty on an 18-foot aluminum boat. The max speed was about 30 miles an hour. I can't catch fish when I'm going real fast. I don't know about y'all, but a lot of people say, they like to go faster. But in my opinion, 60 horsepower, it carries you 30 miles an hour, and it about beats you to death at 30 miles an hour if you hit a wave. So I'm going to go slow anyways. On that boat, you could put a 90 on it, but, I ain't going to put a 90 on it, and it was a lot more expensive to do that too. And on my Carolina Skiff, we'll just say a 20-foot fiberglass. It has a 115 horsepower engine on the back of it. It's a Suzuki. I like Suzuki. It does great. It carries me at about 40 miles an hour max speed. I'm not going that fast, however. My cruising speed's about 25 miles an hour. That's the most fuel efficient. And it has plenty of bow lift. In my opinion, it'll get you over waves if you need to do it. And another subjective opinion, if you're going over 40 miles an hour in that boat, it's still going to beat you to death too. That's just my opinion. So I would say if you're looking at a small boat, 15 to 25 outboard. If you're doing a flat bottom, if you're doing kind of a mid-size 18-foot aluminum, you can get by with a 60 horsepower. And if you're doing something that's 20 foot and below, fiberglass, 115, that's the way to go. Yeah, hope this helped you out some. Have a good day.